We appreciate y'all for sticking around. Coming up next, actually, right now, is going to be Kuno running Town of Light. So let's give him a big old clap and a hype, and go ahead and take it away.
Hello, my name is Kuno Demetries. I wasn't supposed to be doing this run as on the schedule it says RIP. However, RIP had something come up, and this is the filler run, so we apologize for that. So, without further ado, we're going to be going directly into Town of Light. Ooh, that is not. Okay, well that's not good. Nick, by the way, the bot's picking me up too. Alright, so I'm gonna give it a 3, 2, 1, and then the time will start. So 3, 2, 1. So if you have not seen The Town of Light, you probably have not. The Town of Light is a psychological horror adventure game developed by LKA, which is a development team in Italy. The entire game is based in Italy. I believe it is said Tuscany, Italy. Uh, The plot itself is extremely bad if you don't do any glitches because it has a lot of like bad themes. So there are a lot of trigger warnings for the games. I'm not going to cover them all, but if you have, if you're prone to those, please be mindful of that, and we'll try our best to ignore that. So.
Non riesco a tenere gli occhi aperti.
So the beginning cutscene is actually counted as time, and the ending cutscene is not. The beginning cutscene is, even though you basically get a cutscene then a long load. But the movement is, you can't jump, and it's just a little bit of movement, but you can't interact with the world, which, if you know, and basically any rules of speedrunning, if you can interact with the world, you can basically break the game in some form. There we go. So, this is the Town of Light in Voltaire, Italy. The game was made in 2016, so that is not too bad. Oop. The game was released originally in 2016. They made a Switch port in 2018. They announced a Switch port in 2018 whenever the Switch was released, and they were supposed to release a physical copy of the game, but it got canned for obvious reasons, as the game somewhat bombed because it's not really horrific in a lot of ways. It's more of I guess more of a mental flashbang than a horror game in reality. It's not, I wouldn't say it follows the baseline horror aspect ratio as like many other games. So to give a little backstory of the game itself, it follows a character named Renee. She was originally in a mental ward back whenever she was a kid, getting out of primary school if you're in the UK. So the speedrun strats revolve around this elevator at the start, and because of that, we'll be able to do a thing called wheelchair skip, which is extremely amazing and makes this hour-long game about 30 minutes to, like, well, 30 minutes for 100%, about 20 minutes without 100%. The reason 100% is an extra 10 minutes is because you lose a lot of control at some point.
La copriva, la abbracciava, la accarezzava. Era molto affettuosa e amorevole. A Charlotte non accadeva nulla di male e io mi stupivo, non capivo. All'inizio mi faceva quasi paura. Temevo che mi volesse fare del male. Aspettavo sempre il momento in cui la mamma l'avrebbe abbandonata.
Is it a good time to talk about the charity a little bit?
Yep, you're all good.
Alrighty. So we're here to raise some money for the Heartland Animal Shelter. They were founded in 2002 to help alleviate unnecessary euthanasia of animals in the Chicagoland area. In 2020, they saved the lives of 979 animals and found homes for 1,002 dogs and cats. They are looking forward, to saving even more lives in 2021. They saved not only at-risk animals in the Chicagoland area, but in 2020 they partnered with shelters in 11 other states throughout the country, increasing their ability to save lives. They truly believe that every animal deserves a second chance, and they pride themselves on only pulling the most vulnerable population of animals after all others have had the chance to save them.
Alrighty. That is extremely nice to hear. So, as like he said, this is a charity event for Heartland Animal Shelter. So we are doing the setup for wheelchair skip. So you have to put the wheelchair on the elevator, then call the elevator. Once the wheelchair gets above your head, I did not hit that button. Amazing. We're just lost about 10 seconds from stumbling. And click. There we go. So the wheelchair is now above me and in front of me. That is not really by design, but it happens because we're actually holding the wheelchair whenever I left click, and when I unleft click, I'm no longer holding it. The wheelchair is above me because it does not like being in a wall, and whenever the door shuts on it, it's actually inside a wall, so it tries to displace it when it's out. And because we're in front of it and holding it, it displaces it on top of us because that's the only available slot because it does not want to push us through a wall as well. So because of that, it gets above us, which is really amazing. And when we do that, we can start clipping through things, which is amazing. So we're going to come this way around this tree and hit the low trigger for the next area. So this run used to be about 35 minutes long, or about 30 minutes long. And so I figured out that you can run this way and hit that low trigger. That low trigger loads this entire area and skips a long cutscene about Renee talking about her past, which in reality is the entire game. This game extremely mimics things like What Remains of Edith Finch, if you played that game. However, unlike What Remains of Edith Finch, it kind of falls short on the storytelling, as in that game it uses a lot of more visual detail and it has a lot of a lot of artistic lead. In this game, it's extremely bland and undetailed, which I think is the point. I think the entire point is we're looking through the view of someone with mental issues and was abused during her time in a mental hospital. So to kind of explain that part of it, she was put in a mental ward where she was abused by the staff, and her mother was trying to outreach to her, like trying to get information about her daughter, and the staff was actually withholding that information from both of them. Basically, they told her mom, "Yeah, Renee died like years ago," and because of that, her mom actually did end up committing suicide, which she only finds out while going through the game like we are right now. However, we just basically skip that entire point. Like right now, we're about at the ending of this game already. Yeah, this is a very cheery game. So Amara no longer exists. So she believes Amara, who while her stay in the hospital was her only love interest, because I think there's a back in this time there was a male ward and a female ward, and Amara was also, well, both of them, Renee and Amara, were both lesbians. So they were both of their love interest, and because once the staff found that out, they separated them like completely different sides of wards and locked them away, so they never saw each other after that. So Renee completely believes Amara doesn't exist, and in her records they even say, "Oh, Renee is making up this person named Amara," but then she finds things of Amara's, which is the doll. That's why she actually enjoys having the doll, is because it actually was originally Amara's. So that's a little bit of a lore of this game. This game is actually extremely loreful. It has a lot of story. However, it is put in the most extremely slow way of just being told to you, and a lot of reading. And it's like the parts where it's actually cutscenes are actually extremely good, but those are few and far from submit to really lots of lore. I don't think they would accept this game, especially for any percent not showing any lore, unless they just don't mind no lore being shown. So we come up this way and hit. Basically, we're running to where we were, and then running right back to where we just came from, and that's about this entire starting area. There we go. So now we will walk this way.
ma io non ho abbastanza coraggio per continuare a
And the
vivere.
reason you didn't see me clip out towards this way at the start is because if you
Non
actually
così.
head towards the front with the doll in the wheelchair, Amara will say like, "Oh, the sun is not warm enough," because we're actually supposed to put the doll in front of heat lamps, which she'll say
Il
right
sole è
now.
caldo, è vero, ma la sera porterà il freddo. Non va bene per Charlotte.
The
Non
language we run
posso.
in does not particularly matter. I do find that I think we're in Dutch or Italian, but overall the language only saves about 30 seconds. However, in this game where most of it is just waiting and cutscene, 30 seconds means a lot because it's just hold W and left click, and that's about it. So it's not too bad to save that amount of time. Oh, to mention for the hamsters, the reason it does not say this run because they're my hamsters is because it is for the end of the thon. So if you donated to see the hamsters, it would be the end of the thon. I will come up this way. So up here, we demand the hamsters. We will get them at the end of the run. Not at the end of the run. That's not what I meant. I meant at the end of the marathon. I said at the end of the marathon earlier, so we're gonna do it at the end of the marathon. If we hit 500, we'll stream the hamsters for an hour. How about that? I'll put the hamsters in their playpen, and we'll stream the hamsters for an hour. I'll find some way to stream them for an hour. If we have 500, we'll stream them. Alrighty, so right here is about a 5-minute wait scene. So, while we are waiting, we are going to talk a little bit about Heartland Animal Shelter. So, Heartland Animal Shelter is a non-kill, non-profit organization in the Chicagoland area. They they have saved the lives of at least 1,000 animals within that area. The way that they do that is they pick up animals off the streets and take animals from kill shelters. So if they find an animal that's in a kill shelter, they go and rescue them. So additionally, while they do that, they actually have those animals within their shelter that entire time until they find them households. If you would like to see the animals that they have within their shelter currently, you could do !H Twitter. If you want to give them a hand in any way, shape, or form outside of just donating to Tiltify, you could do ! Wishlist, and you'll be able to donate directly towards their wishlist. We just also want to give thanks from the Horrible Games Marathon to Speedrun.com for giving us the opportunity to be streamed onto the front page. I know that we had not said that thus far, but this is probably going to be the last run for Horrible Games. So We will. We want to give thanks to you guys for giving us the opportunity to be on the front page and, you know, giving us a little bit of help in raising money for an amazing cause of the Heartland Animal Shelter. So, we're going to get back into the Town of Light just real quick. So, the Town of Light, at that point, we're actually supposed to learn a huge amount about Renee's backstory when she was a little girl, about her mother, about when she came to the asylum, about her problems with schizophrenia. However, it's just faster kind of just to stand still, because the game's actually programmed wrong. You can't physically get 100% on this version of the game without like full on routing it perfectly. Like if you accidentally like go down the wrong hallway, you can't get 100% because that black screen will hit instantly. However, every time you get like a little painting, there's painting ups on the walls. If you see 100% or play the game, you'll see the paintings. Then you look at them, the paintings will glow up, and she'll start talking about her past. Well, if she does that, then you'll learn about her past, and you know, like I just said, but that adds additional time to that counter. So technically, if you run fast enough to each one of them, you can hit that black screen faster than sitting there. But in reality, doing that loses time because you're not going to get that routing too well. Playful, 100% actually shows a lot more in lore, but 100% also shows like 1 or 2 bad scenes. But yeah, the lore in this game's not too bad. I hope this is not loud for you all. I will check to make sure. It is horribly loud. We're gonna turn it down. There we go. So right now, we are not in the present day. We are in current day. So they found that she left her current asylum to go to the old one, and we're in present day. So in the lore, we are now in today, which is like 20. Well, we were already in today, but you know what I mean. We're back where she's supposed to be, which is the current asylum. However, she has schizophrenia, so you're gonna see that she believes that she's still in her original um asylum during the playthrough. Horribly loud. Yes, the game is extremely loud, which is very tedious. So we're getting an elevator ride up, which, funny enough, this elevator is the original elevator. Which part of the run sucks the most? For any person, probably just sitting on the black screen. Yeah, that's probably the worst part, is waiting on the black screen. Like, are you talking about like for speedrunning or for like the game in general, for like bad as in like, you know, mental health bad? If you're talking about mental health bad, I just broke this. Um, the worst part's probably the end. For speedrunning, it's right here. It's like a 3-minute cutscene to 4-minute cutscene after a 3-minute wait. So overall, we're kind of just waiting for like an entire good minute. There we go. So we will come grab this booklet. I tabbed out of the game. Is there heading? I tabbed out. I can't read chat. Give me 1 second. I will let you know. So there's actually one incredible skip in this part, and that's it. There's one skip in this part, and it saves about like a second. I think it saves about 10 to 20 seconds. It actually, for a game that's this tedious, it either is world record or not, if you get it or not. Which I don't remember the key for, which I believe it's escape. So I'm gonna have to spam escape. But I don't think it's escape. I think it's like E or something. I literally did the first section where you do the out of bounds for practice, and then I didn't do this part because this part is just W, and then you're fine. So. Come grab that. Ooh, okay, I did it. So, voice crack. Okay, I did it. So right there, if you grab that piece of paper, you just hit E, and then you turn around, and then you walk away. So that door behind us is supposed to shut, so we listen to that entire section before we walk away. But if we hit E before that trigger hits, we can walk away. Seems like this is a later fuse, but it's really easy since it's a walking sim. Yeah, it's it's not superbly. I would compare it to like I wouldn't compare it to Layers of Fear. Layers of Fear is in its own ballpark, but if you want, I would say compare it to like Layers of Fear 2, where it's just a lesser game that's just not as great. So time is coming up very, very, very shortly. I would say within the next minute, time will be up. Layers of Fear 2 is not a great game. You can at me at that. Layers of 2 is not a great game. So we're gonna come up this way and take a left. I am illiterate in direction. So there we go. We are going left. So this is her mother. If this is the only text dialogue in the entire game you can skip with a left click. The only text dialogue you can skip is with left click about her mother being dead, and that's about it. Which I find amusing. So this is them talking about how she's been restrained like a huge amount of her life. Walking simulator. Yep, and then we take another left, go into this room. So time is on the full white fade in. So I will click this bed, and then the screen will turn to white, so time will end now. Time ends now. So I had gotten a 21:28. 21:28. So what is that on the world record? I don't that's definitely not world record. I'm pretty sure 80% PEC. 21:28. I'm like 20 seconds off world record. So not too bad. We're about only 20 seconds off. That's in the ballpark. Is there anything to say? No. The game is a WSIM. Alrighty, so I want to give thanks and shoutouts to our amazing friends
HiG.
over at SRC one more time. I additionally want to give shoutouts to Rip the USB. Hopefully you're doing great, bud. Sorry that you couldn't make it. Hopefully, if you're actually here, you hear this. Let's all give thoughts and prayers to Rip WSB. I want to give shoutouts to all the HiG staff. I want to give shoutouts to all the runners up to this point. So let's give it up for Nerd Squared with Among the Sleep. If you're on SRC and watching us, I just want to say stay tuned. We are having Among the Sleep, Outlast 2 after, and a bunch of great ones. So without further ado, we're going to go back into our intermission, and we will be back with Nerd Square.